What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over how you can find your perfect sensitivity in Fortnite. If you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful and informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below an unpopular opinion you have about Fortnite. So something that you think that not a lot of players will agree with, and I will be reacting to some in a video later this week. So that should be helpful, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. The first thing we're going to do when talking about finding your ideal sensitivity is just going to be copying someone else's sensitivity, because this is probably the most popular thing or the most common thing people do. And I do think it can be a good starting point as long as you are willing to change it. I feel like the mistake here is that a lot of people copy somebody's settings and then they're like, okay, cool, now I'm going to be as good as this player. And that is not how it works. And because they kind of have that mindset, they don't want to like deviate from that person's settings or kind of adjust it to their liking at all. And I think that is the problem. Copying someone's sensitivity, I think, is a great starting point, especially like content creators and pro players typically have like good settings. Whether or not it's like ideal for you, it's like somewhere probably close, you know what I mean? Whereas like if you just started at like the lowest possible sensitivity or the highest possible sensitivity, that probably wouldn't be that great of a starting point because you would have to adjust a lot. But if you copy a good player's settings, you're probably at a decent starting point. You might need to adjust, but you won't have to adjust like a ridiculous amount, you know what I mean? And I think it's also very important to copy someone who has a similar play style to you. If you're a controller and you play like linear, you want to copy a linear player. If you play expo, you want to copy an expo player, because the settings feel very different between those two different like input, or I forget what they call it, how the sensitivity feels. I do have a video explaining linear versus expo. It'll be linked down in the description below if you guys are curious. And just in general, you want to find someone who has a similar playstyle to you. You know, if you play only zero build, you probably don't want to copy someone's settings who's like the most cracked builder or the cracked editor in the world. You know, they might be good settings, but they have a very different goal than how you want to play the game. And like I already said, don't be afraid to deviate from this. Just use it as a starting point and then adjust it accordingly. And don't just immediately think you're going to be as good as that player. Another thing you want to keep in mind, in addition to like the playstyle and like the input curve, that's what it's called between linear and expo, is going to be how they play. So like, I used to play on Xbox controller and then I switched to PS5 controller, and I use relatively the same sensitivity when I switched, but I did have to change it up a bit. So if you play on PlayStation controller, just know if you're using somebody's Xbox sense, it might feel a little different on yours. And then also the frame rate you play at will make the game feel differently. Like a higher frame rate makes the game feel much smoother. So if you took the same settings and played on 60 FPS, which is what like the Xbox One and PS4 is, it would feel very different than someone playing on 240. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If you're old gen console, maybe try to find someone who plays old gen console, who's a content creator or pro player, and kind of go from there. It's not required, but it's just something to keep in mind. I think you don't want to be like really concerned with being uncomfortable. You know, if you're trying out new settings, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first, and you just want to like kind of get that period out of the way. You know, it's unlikely that even if settings are perfect for you and that eventually that you'll be great on them, it's unlikely it's going to be like that the moment you start playing in. And like, I feel like a lot of players get in like somewhat of a setting crisis where they know they want to change their sensitivity, they change it, they play one match then in BR, and then they lose their first fight, and then they're just like, oh, these settings are terrible. And then they change it, and then they just keep doing that over and over and over again, and they never give themselves any time to adjust to it. And I'm sure if you guys know, if you play BR, not only is it not the most like condensed like time period of fighting, you know, you might see like 5 people in a 20-minute period if you have a slower match, but also early game, who knows why you die? You know, you might get a suppressed pistol while the person nearest to you gets a thunder pump and an SMG, and you can win that fight, but it's a hard fight to win. There's a lot of RNG that goes on the early game, so it's hard to test settings in battle royale. It's not time efficient, and it's weird. And I feel like a lot of players are so concerned with how they play or their stats in game or whatever that they aren't okay with doing bad, or they aren't okay with that comfortability period, and then that just leads to them constantly adjusting the sensitivity and never getting used to anything. I think creative is great for this because you can get into a lot of fights in a short time span, and the penalty for losing is non-existent. Like, even if you don't care about your stats in BR and you don't really care how you play, like you're not going to get tilted or anything, If you die, you have to queue into another game, you have to loot up again, you have to find more people. Whereas a lot of creative maps, I will have a video I've made on creative maps down in the description below as well. You can fight people, and it's just very quick and repetitive. You know, you can fight. If you die, you respawn, you still have your loot and everything, and you just keep doing that. And so the time between fights is just much lower, and that means you can get in much more fights in a faster time span, and that's going to allow you to like adjust to that sensitivity more in a shorter time span, and then also kind of know what you need to change. If you play like 10 minutes of creative fighting on a sense and it still just feels way too fast for you, then maybe you know to turn it down a bit. And then vice versa, if you play a decent amount, like 5 to 10 minutes, and it still feels too slow, then, you know, adjust accordingly. And just in general, I think it's very important to be okay with taking a few steps backwards to take more forwards in the future. I think this is one of the things people struggle with most when it comes to improving in games, is they want like the quick short answer and they don't want to like ever regress. But that just isn't true. That isn't how it works, especially when it comes to like settings and playstyle. We've talked about this so many times on the channel, but like I'm sure many of you who, when you first got into the game, you really wanted to win and you played really, really passive, and that really stunted your growth because you were just concerned about winning in the short term. It's the same thing with settings. It might suck for a few days if you're trying to get used to a new sensitivity or new keybinds, but in the future you can actually benefit from it a lot. It's very unlikely that just like the default basic settings end up being like the perfect ideal settings for you, especially in a time period right now. As I'm posting this video, I think there's like 10 or 11 days left in the season. It's basically over, so who cares how you do in that time? You know, if you play quite bad for the next week or so because you're trying to adjust to new settings, who cares? You know, does it really matter if you get like a few more wins in this season, or you get a few more crowns, when if you take this period now at the end of the season, you adjust to it, you're going to be able to like be much better in chapter 4 season 2 and kind of hit the ground running in that season. So I think now is like the ideal time to kind of change something like this. And that's why I made this video when I did. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found it helpful and informative. I'm going to show my settings real quick if you guys want to see them. I've made several settings videos. I don't think anything has changed since the settings video I made at the start of the season, but I'm going to quickly run through that, and then I'm going to have the gameplay play out. I think it's going to be a game I got in the recent Squad Cash Cup where we just like W-keyed everybody, and it was a really crazy game where just I don't know what was going on, but yeah. I hope you guys found this helpful. Give it a like if you did. Subscribe. Don't be afraid to try out new settings and try out new playstyles and like adapt to the game and kind of go outside of your comfort zone. And comment down below what your unpopular opinion is on Fortnite so I can react to it in a future video. These are going to be my controller settings. 2.2 build, 1.7 edit, 41 look horizontal, no boosts because I play linear most of the time. Linear players don't use boosts. There are some players that play Expo and have a little bit of a boost, but it's personally not something I'm a fan of because it makes your sensitivity feel not necessarily inconsistent, but how the game feels is more varied, and I feel like that is going to hurt your consistency when it comes to aiming. I use 12 ADS speed, both look and horizontal, 0.20 ADS turning boost ramp time. There was like a rumor that this improved aim assist or something along those lines. So I have it like that. I don't really know if it does anything. Look dampening time at 0. This is basically like the inverse of a boost, I believe. Like you start off with like a really low sensitivity, depending on what the dampening time is. Look input curve, I use linear, 100% aim assist, dead zone 10-10, and then the rest I don't think matters. But yeah, those are my settings in Fortnite, and those are the settings I've been on pretty much all season, I think. I think I may have turned my edit sense down at one point, but like that's about it. I've been using these settings for a while.
He's right here. 29. 60.
But they're not real.
These guys
Team
are
behind us
fighting
is
back
active,
here.
yeah.
29. Oh, he opened the door.
Their
and
wall
regretted
should be
that
weak.
instantly. 29.
Quick shut
Wanna
on
go kill those guys real quick? Let's just
Sure.
kill them real quick.
I've
They're
only
fighting on the beach.
seen 2.
Yeah,
It
they're
could be
looking at the
more.
big marker.
Yeah, one's in this little house.
Yep, see him, birdie. Nice.
Pumped him.
Gliding, the other one's gliding.
No, I
on
have the
this hill
hammer.
too.
Oh no, I'm good.
Trying to
I've
figure
been
out that guy's
seeing-
gliding.
Yeah, I've been seeing like gliding on
Isn't
it.
it bugged? Like,
I don't
Do y'all
know.
wanna
Which is over
do y'all wanna
here.
just go back to where we were?
He's all the way over there. Yeah. I cracked one up here. 28. Look at the opposite height of us. I knocked one up here. I
Nice.
knocked
Up
one.
here? Okay, let's key that now.
I only have one hammer
a while.
charge.
Yeah, me too.
They're gonna triple it.
Wait out.
White, 2 are dead. I didn't kill that one though, unfortunately.
Whoa, whoa.
I think they got keyed.
Yeah, we might just want to chill optics.
Okay.
They finished the fight. I
Yeah,
think
they
we're back
did.
up.
We'll just look for a beam again. If we get a knock, we just scheme again. Oh, these guys are keying actually. Everybody's keying. You're right in front of us. Pretty white, nice. To our left is more people.
What is he doing?
Extra bunkers. Here, key this. And here, he's running. On me, cracked. He's one shot, dead.
Nice. Back over this hill. I'm dropping this bunker. I'm carrying double ham. I'm getting up on this hill.
Yeah, keying these guys.
Oops.
Oops, sorry to hit you.
They're over there. One just went to the water here.
Pushing up.
Oh, what the heck?
What the heck, yeah.
Right here in the open, birdie, 33, cracked, dead.
Oh. Gliding?
Yep, pin him for 30.
48.
Oh, we're just kidding. This is so...
Dude, it's just like, this is what the games are like. We might as well be the team doing this and having it done to us, you know, in low elo.
We're so drowned.
The hill after you kill that guy.
Cracked in the air.
Anyway,
One shot, dead.
Across the way. They're
Yeah,
looking
that
at
castle
us.
team, we might have to play normal again.
Yeah.
Crack them, and
They're
you-
playing for the
I have
money.
one knocked over here.
like, look at you, buddy.
Have they been there the whole time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Knocked
nice
one,
try.
60 white. He's 60 white over there.
Dead.
Nice.
Nice, keying that?
Yep.
Carrying. 60 white on the finish. To the
Pushing
right.
up.
They're in the bush. They're in the bush, Maddie.
Okay.
Down.
100 on one.
They res?
I have the backside. They're running circles.
I don't know this guy
Cracked,
at all.
homie.
Dead.
Oops, that was my only splash. There's another one here, I think.
In the water.
Yeah, I'm in the water. 30, 70. Back dead. Blind speed.
Dead.
Nice.
Bro, I haven't had more than one hammer charge for the past like 4 minutes. It's so tilted.
top?
Up
Up
top,
top of
yeah,
it.
There's
yeah.
the last guy.
60, 90,
Cracked.
120.
Wait, where'd he go?
He's up here. He's
Oh,
gliding.
him.
That was
Nice.
wild, man.
Woo!
My hammer was on constant
Yay.
cooldown.
I
every
know,
ti-
mine too.
Every time I got to the
too.
fight, it was over.
I picked up too. I was like, yo.